Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today we are going to be looking at Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Into the Dark. We are doing a full book read through. The reason I am doing this is that even though, yes, I have just done like 8 other videos that are going to release throughout this week, where you are going to be able to get my kind of full considered view on everything with my current style of bullet points, slideshows, etc. Where everything is a little bit more edited. I know how many people just love, want, need, desire, etc. being able to see the rules for themselves. And so here we go. Here we have a full-blown man reads book. It is going to take as long as it takes. And the only thing I've really tried to really do for you here is make sure that my camera is good enough for you to see everything in nice, crisp pictures. I originally had a setup where you could see my face and you could see me reading through, and there were going to be cool pictures turning up. But you know what? That's not what you're watching this video for. Anyway, so a very quick thing that needs to be pointed out is that this is the final piece of content that I am producing for Into the Dark, by which I mean, over the past 2 weeks, I have already made my overview, my review, my playing of the game, my unboxing, my faction breakdowns, my how is the close quarters rules going to affect the game, top winners and losers for that, etc, etc. And in all of those, inevitably, I had not made the video before, after. This is the final piece of content. So in an odd way, even though those few videos you're going to watch over the next week from me are presented as a more considered view, and they are indeed more concise and better edited than this will be, but oddly, what I am giving to you right now is actually my more informed view. So I'm going to go through as much of this as I can for you. It's going to take ages, but this is what some people want, so here we go. Let's do it. We start... Oh, the only thing I haven't been through yet, sorry, are the narrative rules, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one narrative video that is going to include a lot of Into the Dark plus the annual, which I have right next to me, and that's being given a full read through next, as my next video, because I think that actually narrative guys and players are the big winners for this release. There's so much in here, and so when we get to that, when we get to the campaign, the dungeon master, the twists, etc., that is just going to be me reading the book, and I haven't really gone through them yet to give you an informed opinion. I do have my informed opinions on the Navy breaches though. So if you don't care about just seeing the words yourselves, you don't need to go through this. But here we go. So your archetypes are security and seek and destroy. You can have one leader, who's your sergeant at arms. He can either take a shotgun plus hatchet or bolt pistol / heirloom auto pistol with chainsword / power weapon. You then take 11 other models, so you're a 12 model team. Your only options here are the gunners. That is a las volley, a melter, or a plasma. You're always taking the plasma, not to worry. And then it's a question of the other two. I built the las volley because I felt that, we're not always going to be playing Into the Dark. We're going to be playing open board as well. You're probably at some point going to be wanting this. Some long range. Do note that when it comes to the gunner, you only get given, in the box, one body. And that is questionable, but luckily I've built enough of these kits now that I can safely inform you that actually all of the arms can be swapped with all of the bodies. Not a problem. There you go. So I built the plasma and the las volley, and to do that I sacrificed the second armsman. The armsman is the standard model. So, do note that every model is on a 25mm base, apart from the gunners, who are on 32mm bases, and the endurant, he's your dude with the shield, who's on a 32mm base. There you go. When it comes to this, generally, the big question is, what team am I playing? What team am I running? Am I just running all specialists, or am I taking, some standards? This is one of the teams where actually very oddly, I think you're not always going to be running all specialists. So all of these are good, apart from, in my opinion, the Surveyor and the Void Jammer. The Surveyor and the Void Jammer are the guys that bring you the cat and the Geist Skull. I take that back, sorry. The Surveyor brings you the cat. The Void Jammer brings you the Geist Skull. Is that right? The Void Jammer is the Geist Skull. The cat is the Surveyor. Yes. So I think that actually the Geist Skull is kind of the last operative on your mind. So therefore, totally, you can drop a Geist Skull and a Void Jammer and take 2 armsmen. Like, I think that would be a very common thing. I don't think we're going to be seeing the Geist Skull that often. The cat, I think, is amazing. It's going to die very quickly, but I do think it's a very good model and does some really cool things. We then get over to the TAC Ops. So we get Storm Target, which is at the end of any turning point if friendly operatives are controlling that. I have to read the whole thing, don't I? Okay. Reveal this TAC Op at the target reveal step at the first turning point. Your opponent selects 1 objective marker. It cannot be an objective marker that can be permanently removed from the kill zone. At the end of the turning point, if you control it, you get 1 VP. If you control it at the end of the battle, you get a 2nd VP. In general, allowing your opponent to pick an objective or a placement for you is never a good thing. I'm not a fan of this. It's a huge telegraph. It's just openly saying to your opponent, hey, you know where I'm going, you know what I'm doing. So I don't like Storm Target. Into the Breach. Attack Op with an identical name as a ploy from the Veteran Guardsman. Reveal the TAC Op at the end of the 4th turning point. So do note, you only reveal it at the end of the 4th turning point. If you do not finish the game, you do not reveal this, right? Because it says at the end of the 4th turning point, not the end of the game. End of the 4th, so just keep that in mind. If one or more friendly breachers, operatives, excluding the Geist Skull and the cat, are within 6 inches of your opponent's kill zone edge, you score 1 VP. If 2 or more friendly, blah 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 blah, are within red of your opponent's kill zone edge, you score another VP. So I think this is actually a pretty good one upon consideration, because most of your guys are short range. You have to run up the board regardless. You're going to be very close to the enemy's deployment zone, assuming that you have survived for long enough, which is not guaranteed, and we will have to wait to see just how good and like this team turns out to be as to whether or not this is a kind of a go-to or not. If this turns out to be a strong team and you are alive till the end of the battle, this could be good. Otherwise, not so much. Counteract. Reveal the TAC Op at the target reveal step of any turning point. If you use the Breach and Clear ability, we'll get to that in a moment, don't worry. And during that group activation, 1 friendly operative incapacitates an enemy operative and the other friendly operative incapacitates an enemy operative or controls an objective marker at the end of that group activation that friendly operative did not control at the start of it, you score 1 VP. And then do it again to get a 2nd VP. I think this is really, really hard to do. It's possible you will be able to set this up as a one-time, yes, you get 1 VP. I do not think this is guaranteed when you are like to get twice in a game. So yeah, it's going to feel really good if you get this, like, because it's just kind of the combination. This team is all about combos. And if you're able to like rack up all the combos, and in addition to that, get the VP for it, which is not just getting a kill on an enemy, it's also, possibly it's getting 2 kills on an enemy or a kill and getting on the point. Like, it's going to feel amazing every time you do it. But I don't know how often you're going to do it. Right, Breach and Clear. This is kind of the big defining thing for this team. Once per turning point, when a friendly Breacher operative is activated, you can use this ability. If you do so, select 1 other ready friendly. I'm going to break this down for you. You can see it on screen. Go ahead and read it. Long story short, you can pick 2 models that are within 3 inches of each other, and you essentially give them GA2 with each other. There you go. Done. Yeah, that was easy. Right, Void Armor. I'm going to read this as well, and then we'll have a quick chat about them. The operative is unaffected by the splash critical hit rule, unless it's the target of the shooting attack. Right. Yeah, and so if they're hitting you with splash, it only hits the guy that you're shooting at, not anybody else. If they're hitting you with blast, torrent, those other twos, and it does apply to detonate or a smoke grenade, or sorry, a grenade that targets the ground, anything that targets the ground. In the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, you can reroll one of your defense dice, or up to 2 of your defense dice if this operative has the Navis Grenadier keyword, which is cool. So this is just, a nice little bit of survivability, but honestly, it's not going to come up too often. As grenades have been removed, basically, you're not really worried too much about frag grenades. I guess good against flamers, but who takes flamers? So Void Armor is just a nice little thing to have, but Breach and Clear is obviously kind of the defining trait of this team. It's very good, it's very cool. I don't know yet how effective it's going to be, but I think in the hands of good players, Breach and Clear is going to be a real game changer. And there are other ways that we're about to read where we can see that there are additional ways to combo things. And this team is all about the combos. Attack order 1 CP. Okay, I'm going to summarize these for you. Again, it's on the page, you can see it. Right, attack order is you put down a token somewhere and then anything within 3 inches, so 6-inch radius, 3-inch diameter of that point. If you are making an attack within that, either combat or shooting, you can re-roll one of the dice. One of the dice values. Yeah. So which is better than re-roll 1 dice? It's re-roll a value, or yeah. So, if everybody's hitting on 4s, you can say, I will re-roll 3s. And then essentially, they're practically hitting on 3s. So it's kind of cool. Defense is exactly the same, except when you are shot. So you can re-roll a defense dice. Cool. You've got 4-up saves, by the way. So, cool. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to tell you right now that the Sergeant at Arms has Command Breach. This is at the beginning of the turn, the first strategy phase. You decide one of these 2 ploys, and then you can play it every turn for free. Also, these 2 are exclusive. You can't play them both in the same turn. So, all in all, quite like it. I think that attack order is going to be the default. But you never know. You never know. That could be the default. Or maybe this team's going to turn out to be super weak and they have to go defense order. Regardless, I quite like all of this. This idea, this concept, because what it's doing is it's making everybody stay kind of close together. It's making you stay on points and it's making you stay within range for your breach and clear. So I think it's actually going to play quite well for this team. Close assault, 1C, they're all 1 CP. I'm going to stop saying that. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly breacher operative fights in combat, it makes a shooting attack against a target within 3 inches of it. In the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, if you retain 2 or more successful hits, you can retain one of your failed hits as a successful normal hit instead. So I don't really like this. The Hunterclade get a lot of this stuff with their doctrines, which is if you get 2 successes, you can get a 3rd success. Or if you get 2 misses, you can get a 3rd. You can re-roll. And it's like, yeah, okay. It's fine. I think that in regards to the actual statistic, it just makes you kind of essentially +1 BS. So it's not bad, but yeah. Brace for counterattack. So at the end of the turning point, each time an enemy operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against a friendly Imperial breacher operative that has not performed a charge, fallback, or normal, so that means you can dash, action during this turning point, subtract 1 from the damage characteristics of weapons that enemy operative is equipped with for that combat or shooting attack to a minimum of 2. Yeah, so I quite like this. This is a really strong one. Oh my god. We're on page 3 of the rules and I'm already having to stop to drink. This is going to be a killer, isn't it? My gosh. Yep, that's good. Tactical ploys, overwhelm target. Use this tactical ploy when used breach and clear. Add 1 to one of the operative's APL. Oof. These are the combos. These are the combos. So good. Anyway, blitz. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly breacher operative performs a fight or shoot action against a target within 6 inches of it. In the roll attack dice, step of that combat or shooting attack before rolling your attack dice. If it is the first friendly operative to be activated at this turning point, you can retain 1 attack dice as a critical hit. If it's the first friendly operative to perform either of those actions at this turning point, you can retain 1 attack dice as a successful normal hit without rolling it. Yep, cool. Makes sense. Nice, I guess. Lock it down. Use this tactical deploy when a friendly Imperial Navy breacher operative is activated to select one objective marker until the end of the battle when determining control of that objective marker. Oh my gosh. Alright, luckily I know what this does. So, lock it down is select one guy and select one objective. You count as being +1 APL for the rest of the game. Cool. Calm head. Select one dude. For the rest of the game, he doesn't take any modifiers to movement or ballistic or weapon skill. Cool. I think calm head's going to be really good. So note that modifiers to ballistic skill isn't just when you're injured, it's also your overwatch, which is going to include the guard action. So it's going to be very interesting. Okay, let's get to the data sheets, my boys. So you are pretty standard for what I think we all expected. Movement 6 inches, APL 2, GA 1, defense 3, save 4 up, wounds 8. Which means your armsman here, this is your actual default 7 wounds, 4 up. Yeah. So we can take a bolt pistol or an heirloom auto pistol with a chainsword or a power weapon, or we can take the shotgun with a hatchet. In general, I don't really see why we would take this guy as a shotgun dude. I think we're always taking him as a pistol and chainsword or power weapon dude. So bolt pistol is a bolt pistol. Auto pistol is 2-3, but has balanced and lethal 5 up. Statistically, I don't actually know which is better. Somebody should probably work that out. Thank you. Leave a comment. Thanks. Chainsword, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-5 ceaseless. Power weapon, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-6 lethal 5 up. So again, I think this is pretty much down to go power weapon. The only time I wouldn't take a power weapon is if I'm up against actually another 7 wound team, because then chainsword is going to be better because of ceaseless. You can get the rerolls, guarantee you get the hits. If you're up against anything else, power weapon's the way to go. Okay, let's look at the basic armsman now. So your basic dude gets the shotgun, which we do need to understand how that works. Right. You have 2 options when you decide to shoot with this. You select which one to shoot with. The close range has a range of 6. The long range doesn't have range. Close range, hitting 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3-3. Okay. That's an okay shotgun. It's fine. You know, it's not amazing, but 3-3. Long range, 4 attacks, hitting on 5s, 1-2. That is a puzzling, yeah, what? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then the Navis Hatchet is actually a very decent little weapon, to be honest. 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3-4. That's not bad at all. That's way better than a crappy veteran guardsman, you know? I honestly don't know when you would ever shoot with the long range profile on these guys, just to be clear. No idea. Navis Axejack. So you get the auto pistol and you get a power weapon. These are exactly what you would expect. There's no difference. It's power weapon, if you don't know, is a 3 up, 4-6, lethal 5 up. Okay. The Axejack, he wants to charge. That's his jam. He gets buffs when he charges. So emboldened, if this operative performs a charge action, it is emboldened until the end of the turning point. While this operative is emboldened, each time it would lose a wound roll, 1d6 and a 5 up, that wound is not lost. When you charge, 5 up, feel no pain. Boom, nice. Wade in, perform a free charge action with this operative, then perform a free fight action with this operative. If this operative performs both actions, its power weapons gains a Reap 2 critical hit roll for that combat. Very nice. This will make you lethal 5 up and Reap 2. This means you're essentially guaranteed to be Reap 2. Reap 2, in case you don't know, it's not as good as Splash. It doesn't hit the model. It doesn't hit the primary target again, but it hits all around the primary target. Everybody within 1 inch of the primary target takes 2 mortal wounds, which, you know, is nice. And I suspect that on Into the Dark, that's going to be relatively valuable. We have the cat unit. We don't need to read any of this. This is irrelevant. However, he is defense 2, so he's going to die. Save 5 up, wounds 5. So he's going to die, yeah. I will say he's a tiny, tiny model, actually. So if you're able to hide him behind light cover, that should be quite easy for you to do. All of this stuff here is just saying he can't do anything. You know, like, yeah, he just sucks, basically. You know, almost like a drone. Like he can't do anything. He can't hold objectives. He can't pick things up, blah, blah, blah. He does, however, have recon and scouting step. After resolving your selection, you can perform a free dash action with this operative if it is wholly within your drop zone. Nice. It's basically the same for the Guy Skull. Just to be super clear, the reason that we're not reading much on these guys is because they don't matter. It's the guys that bring them in, so the Void Jammer and the Surveyor, that make them do things. Whilst we're talking about them, though, let's just quickly cover what the Guy Skull does. Nothing. Like, you know, notice they don't have any weapons. They literally cannot fight or attack in any way. But he has boost. Boost is just the same as the Commando Grot. It's move anywhere on the board that is visible to you. Okay. Navis Endurant. Movement is 2, so only 4 inches. Defense still 3, but a save of 2 up with 10 wounds. He has a heavy shotgun instead of a Navis shotgun, standard shotgun, which is at close range the same. This is identical, except he gets Relentless. Now, Relentless is very nice. It's one of the best keywords in the game. But, yeah. Before we go and read down what his other things do note his shield bashes 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 1/1. Brutal shield. So I just want you to be aware, as we're about to read what he does, keep in mind that he's not here to fight. He's here to block. Breach wall looks super long and dense. Allow me to condense this dense. Yeah. Long story short, if a enemy moves and ends up touching the endurance base, then an opponent whose cover line crosses the endurance base cannot draw line of sight to the operative. There you go. Shield is in the resolve successful hit steps of the combat. Each time it parries, 2 of your opponent's successful hits are discarded instead of 1. Nice. Which takes us over to the Grenadier. So, Grenadier, equipped with a frag, a crack, and stun. They don't cost any equipment points, but they have the limited special rule, but they can be selected twice instead of once. His big thing is the demo charge. Note that it is range 2 circle. So this isn't range 6 inch, this is range 4 inch. So he's got to be super close to be doing things. But it's essentially a buffed up crack grenade with blast. So it's very good, but yeah. Good luck getting it to go off. He's obviously going to be a strong contender for the breach and charge, breach and clear thing. Navis Gunner, this is exactly what you would expect. It is a melter gun, plasma gun, or las volley. The las volley, for those that don't know, is attack 6, hitting on 4s, 3/4, fusillade, heavy, relentless. Nice. Fusillade's never used, obviously. Relentless is very good. Okay, then we have the Navis Hatch Cutter. So the Hatch Cutter is auto pistol, chain fist. The chain fist is 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 5/6 brutal rending. It's pretty nice. Pretty good at cutting people open as well as walls. Weird that. Hatch Cutter, each time this operative will perform the operate hatch action, no more than 1 action point needs to be subtracted. Cool. Unique actions, weld shut. 1 AP, this operative can perform this action while within 1 inch of a closed hatchway. Until it is open, that hatchway is welded shut. While a hatchway is welded shut, operatives must subtract 1 additional action point to perform the operated hatch. So far as I'm aware, this is the only... So, he's got a Hatch Cutter which stops weld shut being used on him. I'm sure that other abilities are going to come in that kind of help you mess around with hatchway APL modifications. But I think he's the only one right now. So, right. And then we have Breach Point. Place your Breach Point token so it is within 1 inch of this operative, and a terrain feature no more than 1 inch thick. Friendly breacher operatives can move through parts of that terrain feature that are no more than 1 inch thick, as if they were not there, so long as they do so within 1 inch of that token. Right, proviso time. We need to talk about Breach Point. This, along with Breacher Boy from Commandos, along with his, smash through ability, and along with Writhing Ingress from Wormcolts. These abilities do not work on Into the Dark walls. I want to make that super clear right now. We'll get to Into the Dark Walls later, in about 3 hours once we get there. But guys, does not work. Keep that in mind because that is huge. I had originally read it as that does work, and in fact when you go and watch my videos, you are going to hear me say that those do work. I asked a guy, he told me they don't work. There you go. No more can be said. Now the Navis Surveyor and the Navis Voidjammer, they just have the standard shotguns, so they're just a standard armsman, except they're not GA2. This is why, when you're considering who and what to take, you might consider dropping these for an armsman. Not always, but maybe. So the Surveyor, you have Wayfind and you have Surveillance Wayfind. Select one friendly Breacher operative within 6 inches of either this operative or a friendly cat unit. Add 1 to its APL. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range. So this is another way to get +1 APL onto your teams. This is quite nice. We have 2 ways now. We have deploy for 1 CP, and we have this. This is essentially you're making the cat a comms. Cat comms. Capcom? And then surveillance. Place your surveillance token within 6 inches of a friendly cat unit operative until the end of the turning point, while an enemy operative is visible to a friendly cat unit operative and within 3 inches of that token. So this means essentially you have a 9-inch threat range on this ability. That enemy operative is under surveillance. Each time a friendly breacher operative makes a shooting attack, enemy operatives under surveillance are treated as having an engage order for that shooting attack. This operative can... So, anytime you can turn an enemy model to having an engage, that is a big ability. This is huge. This is massive. This guy, the Surveyor, and the cat unit, these are like the 2 biggest things in your team, really. You're getting an APL modification, and you're allowing one of your strong shooters to take their shot. This guy, in my opinion, this guy and the cat unit are must-haves. But the Voidjammer and the Geist Skull, let's read that. So let's first see what the Geist Skull does when he detonates, because he is just a floating bomb after all. Geist Skull Detonator, 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4 attacks, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 2-3, detonate, EMP, silent. EMP, for those that have forgotten from the EMP grenade from Pathfinders, is you have lethal armor value of your target. So if they are a Marine with 3-up saves, you have lethal 3-up. However, do note, you still have to hit. So if they are, for example, Custodes or the Endurant in here, and you roll a 2, even though you gain lethal 2-up, you still technically miss. There you go. Weird. Weird, I realise. Detonate is exactly what you expect it to be. I'm not actually going to read it. I don't think we need to do that. You blow up. Yeah, there you go. You essentially change blowing up one of your models for a normal shoot action. Cool. Interference pulse, 1 AP. Select one enemy operative visible to and within 6 inches of a friendly Navis Geistkor operative. Roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result if that enemy operative is in that friendly Navis Geistkor operative's line of sight. On a 3+, subtract 1 from that enemy operative's APL. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range. Yep. Cool. I don't think the Geistkor is doing it like this. Detonate, that's not really doing much. It's not taking much down, to be honest with you. Which takes us over to L'Equipement. I don't know why I say things like that. My life is a shambles. Frag Crack. No need to go over those. They're both limited. Chances are you'll take 1 of each. Cool. Stun Grenade. On a 4-up. -1 APL. Cool. Rebreather. You can ignore any or all modifiers to this operative's APL, and it is not affected by the stun critical hit rule. So it's 1 EP, which is probably not. Like, it's not bad, but considering you also have Stim, which is 1 EP, and it +1 to the operative's wounds, you probably just go that as default, to be honest. Like, yeah. Slugs. Now, slugs are an odd one. Basically, for 1 AP, you can swap to your other ammo type, the close range ammo and long range ammo, essentially. Close range ammo has no change, but long range ammo, this gives you +1 to normal damage, crit damage, and your ballistic skill. So this takes you from a 5-up 1-2 weapon to a las gun, essentially, because you will be 4 up, 2, 3. It's fine, I guess, if you want, like maybe there is actually, no, there isn't. No, I don't know when I take this, to be honest. Anyway, Stim, 1 EP, plus 1 to the wounds characteristic, and then System Override Device, 2 EP, you can only take 1. In Scouting Step, after resolving your selection, you can open 1 hatchway. If both players have this or a similar ability, the defender resolves this ability first. Ooh, big sip of water, nice, okay. I'm not going to go over the spec ops, but you can see them. Isn't that lovely? Ooh. I've got to say, after all of the cool stuff, we're already on to the Kroot. Alright, let's power through. I'll talk at the end, or I'll talk when we get to the narrative section. Okay, so the Farstalker Kinband can take Recon and Seek and Destroy. You are an 11 warrior team, 11 operative team, sorry. 1 leader who can take either a Kroot rifle with a blade, a pulse carbine with a blade, or a pulse rifle with a blade. You are then 10 regular Kroot. So you are a... What are the options here? So you've got a heavy gunner. There are 2 options. Now, again, I am 90% sure that if you wanted to build both heavy gunners, you could. I don't think that would be an issue from the kit that you're given. Oh, sorry. They are 28mm bases, all of them, including the Kroot Hounds, except for the Kill Broker, the leader, who is 32mm base. There you go. So I think that if you really wanted to build both of the heavy gunner operatives here, you could. You just swap the arms, wouldn't be an issue. I didn't do that. I built, I believe, the Londaxi Tribalest. However, the reason I'm going to say don't bother is because you can't actually use 2 of them. In the Imperial Navy, in the Breaches, you wanted 2 of them, but were only given 1 body. In this, you want 1 of them, you just have to make a choice. So if you're going only 1 box, just build 1. Also, because if I can be honest with you, these are made up. This is the first time we've ever seen these weapons. You can just, and like, they are very, very clearly the heavy gunner. So you can just say at the beginning of the game, this guy has the devour Skinner, or this guy has the Londaxi Tribalest. I believe I built the Londaxi Tribalest, but I actually don't know. And 90% of people are also not going to know which one you've taken. So there you go. You have an option of 2 Kroot Hounds if you want. You can also take multiple warriors as per usual with either a Kroot rifle or a Kroot scattergun, which is basically their shotgun. This is your special ability, far simpler than the Breaches one. Each time a shooting attack is made against this operative in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, before rolling your defense dice, if it is in cover, you can do one of the following. Retain 1 additional dice as a successful normal save as a result of cover. Retain 1 dice as a successful critical save instead of a normal save as a result of cover. Very nice. Oh, random thing for the people that are viewing this and not just watching it as a podcast. Interestingly, this little piece of the printing process was left behind. How about that? I've deliberately not ripped it off because I think it's super interesting. We get like the bleed. It's called the bleed when you're printing. It's very interesting. Anyway, let's move on. You guys don't care. Right, tac ops for the Farstalker Kinband. Butcher, Andy, get it together. What are you doing? We got 3 hours of this. That's a guess. I'm 34 minutes in. Oh my god, I hope this isn't 3 hours. Alright, Butcher, reveal this tac op at the first time an enemy operative is incapacitated. Each time an enemy operative is incapacitated before it is removed from the kill zone, place 1 of your meat tokens. Stick your meat right under them. You know how it goes. The center of its base. The pickup action can be performed upon your meat tokens by friendly Farstalker Kinband operatives, even if they are carrying another objective marker or token. At the end of the battle, if the total number of your meat tokens that friendly operatives control is equal to or more than a quarter of the number of enemy operatives selected for deployment, you score 1 VP, and then you get the second VP if it is half or more. So, if you are up against a 10 operative team, and you kill and then pick up 5 of them, then 3 of them, is that right? Yes, a quarter, so you need to be over 2.5, so 3 of them, you would score the first VP, and then if you pick up 5 or more, you would score the second VP. Balance the books. If you score maximum victory points from a tac op, and no more than half of your operatives have been incapacitated. When you do so, you'll score 1 VP. If you score maximum victory points from another attack op and no more than half your operatives have been incapacitated, you score 1 VP. This is insane. If you've gotten this, you don't need it. So irrelevant. It's a huge snowball one. I don't think that's really good for the game. Yeah, I don't know. I think for beginner players, it's going to be too hard to score, and for advanced players, if they're scoring it, they've already won. So, and then bounty hunters. Reveal this attack op at the target reveal step of the first turning point of your opponent. Your opponent selects one of their operatives. If that enemy operative is incapacitated, you score 1 VP and place your bounty token underneath the operative as close as possible to the center of its base. If a friendly operative performs the confirm hit action, you score 1 VP. So, very simply, your opponent picks an operative, you get the kill. Nice, that's a VP. If you then manage to get within 3 inches of that operative that you killed and perform an action, you get a second VP. Which takes us over to strategic ploys. Interesting note, this little orange box at the bottom here that I'm sure nobody has read. I draw your eyes to it. It is by the Kroot Coldblood Biakcha, and I think I pronounced that correctly, maybe. This is the quote. If you go and watch my Kroot guide, my breakdown, this is the quote that I read at the beginning. So there you go. Fascinating, right? Strategic deployers, cutthroats, 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons friendly Farstalker Kinband operatives are equipped with to a maximum of 4. This is going to become obvious as to why they need this, because it seems weird, right? To a maximum of 4, well, that's not very good. I mean, they're Kroot, they're going to be good in melee, obviously. No, I think like only 2 of your operatives, maybe 3, if you include the leader, actually have 4 attacks. Everybody else is 3 attacks, which is super weird. But whatever. Farstalk. Immediately change the order of up to 3 friendly Farstalkers operatives that are more than 3 inches from enemy operatives. Super good. Yeah, this is great. Amazing. Absolute stunner, mate. Prey, 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, friendly Farstalker Kinband operatives gain the following ability. Prey. Each time this operative is activated, you can use this ability. If you do so until the end of the turning point, ranged weapons this operative is equipped with, excluding quill grenades, gain the balanced and heavy special rules. Nice, nice, nice. So, and then we get bound. Till the end of turning point, ignore the first distance of a circle. They travel each time they climb, drop, or traverse, and you automatically pass jump tests. The real OG, obviously. So long story short, cutthroats for when you want the melee, prey for when you want the ranged, bound for when you need to move, Farstalk, basically just always, probably. Tactical ploys. Mercenary contract. Oh, on the off chance you weren't looking at the screen, all of these are 1 CP, so it doesn't need to be said. Mercenary contract. Use this tactical ploy in the select tac op step when building your tac ops deck. Instead of adding 1 card to your deck from the selected archetype, you can add 1 from an archetype you did not choose. You must still have a 6-card deck. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty good. However, considering that you are limited to, wait for it, Recon and Seek and Destroy, you're probably fine. Yeah, I don't think you really need to use this. Maybe it's going to depend on who you're up against, but also we're about to find out if we're playing Into the Dark, there are already a bunch of odd little tac op changes that might allow you to essentially do what Mercenary Contract does anyway. So, slip away 1 CP. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Farstalker Kinband operative is activated. Until the end of its activation, that operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less action point to a minimum of 0. Cool. Poach. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Farstalker Kinband operative is activated. Until the end of its activation, that operative only needs to be within the required range of an objective marker or token to perform mission actions and the pickup action associated with that objective marker. They do not need to control it. In addition, they can do so while within engagement range of an enemy operative. I'm sorry, guys. It was just so long. I was like, I just had to get through that. Long story short, you can pick things up. There you go. But you don't have to be controlling them. if somebody else is on them. There you go. Vengeance for the Kinband, 1 CP. This is one that I actually like as opposed to Poach, which was boring. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Farstalker Kinband operative is incapacitated by an enemy operative. Until the end of the battle, each time another friendly Farstalker Kinband operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against that enemy operative in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice. You cannot use the tactical ploy in the battle again until that enemy operative is incapacitated. So this makes this team really good at killing one model. So obviously very good against elite teams. Like, you're able to buff all of your guys to a very insane level, you know, giving everyone relentless, essentially. Yeah, really good. And there's going to be 1 or 2 other abilities that allow you to do something against one model as a team as well. So we get over to the Kroot Killroker. Sorry, where's the... Yeah, so basically your standard loadout is 5 up save, 8 wounds. There you go. And APL 2, obviously. Oh, imagine if the Kroot came out and they were an APL 3 team. The world would be aflame, my good sirs. Okay, so you have the option of the Kroot rifle, the pulse rifle, or the pulse carbine. The pulse rifle is straight up just better than the pulse carbine. The Kroot rifle hits on 3s instead of 4s like the other 2. These are the trade-offs. The pulse carbine, if you take that, it gives you access to this unique action for 1 AP photon grenade. Okay, let's go through. So, call the kill. Once in each strategy phase, when it is your turn to use a strategic ploy or pass, you can select 1 enemy operative visible to this operative instead. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Farstalker Kinband operative fights in combat with or makes a shooting attack against that enemy operative, in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, before rolling your attack dice, you can retain 1 as a successful normal hit without rolling it. Yeah, I mean, that's just really good, right? So you can have Call the Kill on one model, and you can have Vengeance for the Kinband on another model. Like, I'm not nothing in this life is guaranteed, my friends, sadly. But you're as good as guaranteed to get 2 kills that turn, no matter who you're shooting into. So, pretty cool. Then a photon grenade, I believe this is the same as Compendium, but let's go ahead and read it. Select 1 enemy operative visible to this operative, roll 1d6, subtracting 1 from the result as follows. If that enemy operative is not in this operative's line of sight, if that enemy operative is more than 6 inches from this operative, on a 2+, so potentially a 3+, or a 4+, more likely. Until the end of the turning point, subtract 2 inches for that enemy operative's movement characteristic, and it cannot perform dash actions. This operative can only perform this action once, only if it is equipped with a pulse carbine, and cannot perform this action while within engaged range of an enemy operative. I'm going to be entirely honest with you, I don't think this is worth taking the pulse carbine. I think you should take the rifle, or either of the rifles, and which one you take is going to depend on which team you're up against. There you go. Note also that you are 3 attacks, not 4 attacks. Which to me is a little bit crazy, especially as the model himself is armed with a huge blade. I was like, weird. Okay, Kroot Bowhunter. You got 3 awesome looking arrows. Fused arrow. These are all 4 attacks hitting on 4s. The fused arrow is 4-5, AP1. The glide arrow is 3-4, silent. The voltaic arrow is 3-2, splash 2. Now, I've got to be honest, guys, I love splash. Splash 2, amazing. Splash 2 is essentially mortal wound 2, but it also hits everybody within, I think, is it 1 inch? It's 1 inch, isn't it? It might be 2 inches. Oh man, if it's 2 inches, that's insane. Energize. Either way, splash is great. Energize, 1 AP. Until the end of the activation, all profiles of the accelerated bow this operative is equipped with gain the lethal 5-up special rule. This operative cannot perform, so obviously that's amazing. So you want to get yourself into a good shot, you want to energize, and you want to voltaic arrow for splash 2. Absolute mad lad. Okay, Kroot Coldblood up at the top right there. So this guy gets 9 wounds. Delightful. He also gets Hardy, which is just a 5-up feel no pain. No, it's not. Read it. My God, don't say the wrong thing. I'll be crucified online if I get one word wrong. Each time this operative fights in combat or a shooting attack is made against it, in the resolved successful hit step of that combat or shooting attack, each time an attack dice would inflict critical damage on this operative, you can choose for that attack dice to inflict normal damage instead. An operative that cannot be crit. Sounds cool, obviously. Do keep in mind, of course, that things like mortal wounds happen upon retention, and so would still do their mortal wound damage. Well stocked, this guy gets a piercing shot and a toxin shot. They don't cost any points, and he can do them twice. We're obviously going to look at those when we get to the equipment, but a long story short, toxin shot is to kill one dude, piercing shot is to kill multiple dudes. It's kind of like a semi-grenade launcher, if you get both of them. You know, so you can either get the AP1 or you can get splash. It's not splash, though. I think it's stun, and therefore useless, now that I think about it. Cool, Kroot Cutskin. One of your OGs that actually gets 4 attacks base. He's hitting on 3s, 3-4, balanced, lethal, 5 up. Vicious Duelist. Each time this operative fights in combat, in the roll attack dice step of that combat, for each attack dice your opponent discards, the enemy operative in that combat suffers 1 mortal wound. So that's pretty cool as a concept. You know, how much is 1 mortal wound going to do when presumably if he's parrying you that much he's also killing you? Hard to say, but still pretty cool. Okay, Savage Assault, 1 AP. Perform a free fight action with this operative. I could read the rest of it, but if you don't kill the guide, fight again. There you go. That's what this is. Yeah. So, you know, you could perhaps somehow tie Savage Assault in with Vicious Duelist and, you know, maybe trick the enemy into parrying when they shouldn't, and that puts them into kill range of another fight action, but it's only going to work against a new player, to be honest. Crude Heavy Gunner, Devour Skinner. 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, 2, 3. Range 6, AP2, Cumbersome Torrent. Londaxi Tribalest. 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 4, 4, AP1, Cumbersome Rending. And he has a blade. Now, Cumbersome, I like to call light heavy. Which is, an operative cannot move more than 6 inches in the same activation in which it performs a shoot action with this ranged weapon. I think this is pretty clear. If you're going to get this guy up close, you take the Devour Skinner. If you want him to hang back, you can take the Londaxi Tribalest. Unlike the gunner options with the breaches, where in my opinion it was very clear that you wanted both the plasma and the las volley, in this I think it's going to be very situational. Yeah, I think the Devour Skinner could easily be the go-to with 6 attacks hitting on 2s. I mean, this is your flamer, you know, like could be the one. But not always, and sometimes maybe this team is going to generally be a run up and hit stuff team, so you would value quite heavily an additional long range weapon. Kroot Hounds, the good boys themselves. That's right, they get 8-inch move base, 4 circle, very nice. 7 wounds, save 5 up. Ripping Fangs, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3, 4, rending. So these are bizarrely like some of your best melee. We then get Beast. The operative cannot perform mission actions and cannot be equipped with equipment. We also get Bad Tempered. Each time an enemy operative performs a fight action, if this operative is a valid target, you can select this operative as the target instead. Each time an enemy operative finishes a charge action within engagement range of another friendly Farstalker Kinband operative within 3 inches of this operative, if this operative is not within engagement range of an enemy operative, this... Oh my god. Hold on, sorry. What are they doing? What is this verbiage? Jesus Christ. Okay. Basically, if he's in a combat, you can choose to do a Savior Protocols from Tau drone type thing and have him be the target, or if he's within 3 inches, he can perform a free charge action. There you go. My god. Right, unique actions. Gather 1 AP. Perform a free dash, fullback, or normal move action with this operative. At any point during the move, you can perform this pickup action for free with this operative, and any remaining increments of movement can be used after it does so. So, it's pretty cool. I like that. I'm surprised they've called it gather and not fetch. If I like, that's the only thing that confuses me about that. But fine. Crude long sight. Crude hunting rifle. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. 3/3. Heavy. Mortal wound 3. So nice. This is a real sniper, except he's hitting on 3s instead of 2s, which is a little bit of a shame. Long sight. 1 AP until the end of the activation. The crude hunting rifle, this operative is equipped against the lethal 5-up and silent special rules. If this operative makes a shooting attack with the crude hunting rifle it is equipped with, enemy operatives are not obscured for that shooting attack. So, this I think has a lot of play. It allows you to be silent so you can shoot from conceal. So you can essentially stay unconcealed. And it's going to give you lethal 5-up. Yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice. I approve. This is going to be quite a devastating sniper guy. He's going to lock down an area very effectively, I think. Yeah. We then get to the Krut Pistolier. Dual Krut Pistols, attacks 4, hitting on 4s, 3/4, range 6, balanced, lethal 5-up. Okay, so quick draw once per turning point when this operative is selected as the target of a shooting attack. If this operative is ready... Oh my gosh. You can interrupt the enemy option's shoot action to shoot first. There you go. Super cool. Sorry, I just didn't feel like reading that whole paragraph because I actually know some of these rules because I've already read through all of this and like broken them down. I can't read this again. Super cool, super thematic. You managed to interrupt their shooting attack, shoot first. Awesome. Gunslinger salvo. Perform a free shoot action with this operative with the dual Krut pistols it is equipped with. After that shooting attack, shoot again. There you go. You can't do it if you have a conceal order or while within engagement range of an enemy operative that cannot perform a charge, fallback, or normal move action in the same activation in which it performs this action. So you can only dash. Almost there. Krut Stalker. Again, despite him being a guy that sat there with, a weapon, like a blade, he doesn't have 4 attacks. It's very strange. So, you have the Krut Scattergun, though. I can't believe we haven't got into this yet. It's because the warrior they put at the back of this, but the warrior actually has the Scattergun as like a default pick if you want. So, yeah. So the Scattergun, we'll cover it now, is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3/3, but it is range 6 inches. There you go. As opposed to the Krut rifle, which is hitting on 4s instead of 3s, and is 3/4. So, bit of a trade-off. Stalker, this operative can perform a charge action if it has a conceal order. Okay, nice. So same as commandos there. Stealth attack, 2 AP. So this is, there's a bunch of caveats here, but it's very nice. This operative can perform this action if it has a conceal order, is within 1 inch of a terrain feature, and not within engagement range of an enemy operative. Perform a free charge action with this operative, but do not exceed its movement characteristic, i.e. do not add circle to the charge. Perform a free fight action with this operative. This is just the whole, you have to hack the rules to allow you to do things, so stealth attack includes a charge and a fight action within it. In the resolve successful history, so when it's saying those things, those are things you could have done for 1 AP each, so nothing is added here. But then the actual addition you get to doing stealth attack instead of just charging and fighting normally is, in the resolve successful hit step of that combat, the first time you resolve one of your successful hits, you can immediately resolve another of your successful hits. You get to attack twice. You get to resolve 2 dice first. Super good, obviously, really, really nice, yeah. Okay, Krut Tracker. Now, obviously, most people are probably going to know the Krut Tracker already, but Pekra is such an odd one. So this is a token you put on the board, and it is then completely independent of this model, and it moves around as if it was a model, but it's not. No, so I know why, sorry. So this is essentially, if you go back and look at what the cat and the Geist Skull do and how they work, this is identical to them, really. They are just a token. The reason that this isn't the same and we don't have a nice little bird that is its own little model is because that's not how this comes in the kit. In the kit, you just get this bird. But this Pekra rule makes it act exactly the same as the Surveyor and the Jammer. And then what we get is marked for the hunt. Select one enemy operative until the end of the turning point while that enemy operative is within 6 inches horizontally and any distance vertically of your Pekra token. It is marked for the hunt. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Farstalker Kinband operative within 6 inches horizontally and any distance vertically of your Pekra token makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative marked for the hunt, that enemy operative cannot use light terrain as cover for that shooting attack. This operative cannot perform this action while within 6 inches of an enemy operative. This is, to be clear, essentially completely useless in Into the Dark because the only light terrain are your barricades. Just getting that out there, we're going to get to the walls at some point. From the eye above, 1 AP, select one friendly operative visible to and within 6 inches of this operative, add 1 to its APL. Cool, there you go. Crude Warrior, this is just, you can take a rifle or a scattergun. There you go. Equipment, Quill Grenade, it's a frag grenade, moving on. Piercing Shot, I think I've already said, so Piercing Shot and Toxin Shot both have the stats of whatever you're loading them into. So 4 attacks, hitting on whatever your ballistic skill is, which is typically 4, but it might on occasion be 3. And then 3-4 is the same as your Crude Rifle, and you get AP1 for the Piercing Shot. Toxin Shot is 2-2, but you get lethal 5 up and stun. They're both limited. Meat, 3 EP. At some point during a turn, you can get D3 plus 1 wounds. Trophy. Now, actually, this is very interesting because when I was doing my breakdown of the Recruit, I had forgotten whether or not Trophy was limited. Sorry, not limited. Can only be selected once, like the Ritual Blade can. And I had assumed, because it's so good, that it was. But basically, Trophy is 4 EP. And once in the battle, you can give one of the operatives that has it plus 1 APL. Super good. Yeah. Like, amazing. Plus 1 APL is always good. Yeah. Ritual Blade, 2 EP. Crute Killbroker only. Still leaves you at 3 attacks, but it does push you up to 2 up. Oh no, you're on 4-5. I think this is just making you 4-5 instead of 3-4, if I recall off the top of my head. And then you can give someone a Crute Pistol if you want. This is the same stats as a Crute Rifle, except it's range 6 inches, which would of course be for your guys that don't have any ranged. We then get their delightful equipment for Spec Ops. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Oh, okay. You know what? That took an hour. That's fine. Let's get through to rules. Okay. This is a wall. Operatives, oh, hold on. We need a moment to sip some water. Okay. This is a wall. This is a hatchway. You might term it a door, but it's not. Wall operatives cannot move over or through wall terrain regardless of any other rules, other than as a result of the accessible trait, which is basically the hatchway is accessible. That's what that means. Visibility lines cannot be drawn over or through wall terrain. An operative is never a valid target if every cover line drawn to it crosses wall terrain. Range cannot be measured over or through wall terrain. You must measure around it using the shortest possible route. In order for a wall terrain to provide cover or be obscuring, a cover line must cross a corner or end of that terrain feature. So this is important. We're going to look at it over here in a second. These are just examples, but because of this wording here, you see all this like these little sticky out bits along the wall. They don't do anything. Yeah, as perfectly shown here. You might get these columns along the wall. Doesn't matter. So very interesting. And do note that this first line here is blah, blah, blah. Operatives cannot move over or through wall terrain other than as blah, 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 regardless of any other rules. This is why, regardless of any other rules, writhing ingress, breacher boy stuff doesn't work. Okay, I'm not going to go over all of these. Do note you are going to want to, because you know if you're watching this as a podcast, this isn't going to be ideal for you. But long story short, these little nooks and crannies on a wall, they are not giving you cover. The only time you get cover is when you're going around a corner and when you're going across a corner, unless you're on the other side of the line here. So that's fine, but if he were over here, he'd clip the corner, and then the end of the wall also acts like a corner, and that's it. And do note that a hatchway, so a door, also will provide that cover as it does end the wall. So there you go. So instead of having to worry about how things are right now, we now have to worry about walls. In general, I think this will actually be much easier for people to grasp, as it's relatively simple, I would probably argue. You only have, what, three times when you won't get line of sight. So, yeah. It should simplify the process, I would certainly hope. We then get hatchways. This is obviously closed, open. Do we need to talk about... Well, I suppose we do need to talk about this. Not everybody's going to have been on Warcom. Although, honestly, if you made it to an hour in this video and you haven't already checked out, like, Warcom... What's up, man? I'm talking to you. Leave a comment. Why? I'm very confused. How have you gotten to this point in this video and not already somehow found out how hatchways work? I'm legit curious. So... hatchways begin the battle closed while the hatchways... I'm going to read this because it's actually very important. So, yeah, sit back, relax, don't worry, we're about to find out. I'm just complaining. Hatchways begin the battle closed while a hatchway is closed. Its hatch must be fully within its access point. All parts of it have the heavy and wall traits. This is because in the actual terrain itself, you can open and close hatches. They open and close very easily. It's good stuff. So it's just telling you, hey, you actually have to physically open and close the hatchways on the model. Operate hatch, 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while within 1 inch of a hatchway's access point. Ooh. Sorry, had to quickly wake something up there. An operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative, or if that hatchway is open and an enemy operative is within 1 inch of its access point. Cool. An operative can perform this action during a dash or normal move action, and any remaining increments of movement can be used after it does so. Note, however, that opening a hatchway can cause the operative to be within engagement range of an enemy operative, in which case that dash or normal move action would immediately end, unless the operative has any rule to allow it to move within engagement range of an enemy operative, e.g. fly. Designers note, if a hatchway's status is changed and operative placement would prevent the hatch from fully opening or closing, temporarily remove the necessary operative from the kill zone. Fully open or close the hatch as appropriate, and then return the operatives to the kill zone as close as possible to their original location. If an operative is within an enemy operative's engagement range before a hatch is open, it must be returned within engagement range of that enemy operative after the hatch is opened. Cool. So do note that you cannot charge through a hatchway. You have to normal move or dash, which is good to know. Cool. It's then giving a bunch of examples on how hatchways work. I'm not going to go over them. You can clearly see them. There's no point to just read out an example when the whole point of the example is the diagram next to it. I will note that when it comes to moving through an access point, you just have to have part of your base overlapping with the open part of the hatchway, and then you can just move through the hatchway. So it's not like you have to be lined up directly in the middle. You can be just to the left of it and have, like, you know, just a mil or two inside the access point, kind of like line of sight, if you will, like directly in front of it, parallel with it, whatever you want to term it, and then you can just move through. So you are moving through the wall, essentially, that is just next to it, but it works. Yeah, it's good. I think that is the way to do it, honestly. Without doing that, things would be crazy. Okay, we now get Killzone into the dark. This is very important. Do note that everything here is narrative. In match play, these items, these little bits of light terrain, don't turn up. There you go. Killzone into the dark is a supplement to Killzone Gallowdark. It is a condensed, cramped environment that kill teams must navigate and represent the operative's first steps aboard the Gallowdark. So this is Killzone into the dark. And it is going to come up that there is a difference between Killzone Into the Dark and Killzone Gallowdark. Okay? Right. Ancient apparatus. Apparatus. What am I doing? Oh, wait, hold on. What? Oh my god, I'm crazy. I had assumed all of these bits were light, but they're not. They're heavy and traversable. These things are light and traversable. Oh, interesting. Anyway, sorry. So, some missions require operatives to control apparatus. Oh my god. Ancient apparatus. Do I say apparatus? 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 It must be apparatus, yeah. Ancient apparatus terrain features, and some will even specify certain types, e.g. pipes. In such missions, those terrain features are treated as objective markers, except that a friendly operative controls it while within 1 inch of it, and the total ABL characteristic of friendly operatives within 1 inch of it is greater than that of enemy operatives within 1 inch of it. Great sentence. If an operative must perform an action at an ancient apparatus, oh my god, kill me, terrain feature it controls, and it controls more than one, you must select one for that action. Cool. Pipes. Overhead pipe terrain features have the insignificant trait. They are there purely to look cool, and they do, so mission successful. Broken pipe terrain features have the light and traversable traits. Nice. Gallowdark barricades. Gallowdark barricades are variant barricades designed to fit with the theme of Space Hulks. They are normal barricades for all rules purposes, meaning they have the light and traversable traits. I think it'd be interesting to see if people in tournaments are going to let you use these or not. Because in theory, I guess you can. But, well, I don't know. This is only specifically for the Into the Dark Killzone. Never mind, who cares? Close quarters guard. This is the big one. This is the big thing that changes everything, okay? Guard, 1 AP. So, until now, everyone has seen this. They've seen that bit there. They have not seen on guard. On guard defines what guard does. Guard is... guard 1 AP. This operative goes on guard, see below. An operative is on guard until any of the following are true. It performs a guard attack or any actions, excluding pass. An enemy operative ends an action within engagement range of it, and it does not make a guard attack. Its order is changed to conceal. It is the end of the turning point. So, yeah, you don't stay on guard after you go over to the next turn. This action is treated as a shoot action. An operative cannot perform this action if it has a conceal order or while within engagement range of an enemy operative. So it's a shoot action. You have to be on the opposite of conceal. Engage, thank you. And in regards to you cannot shoot and then guard. Unless, of course, you have, bolter discipline up or something, which I think is going to be super powerful for those that have the ability to shoot twice. Right. On guard once during each enemy operative's activation. After that enemy operative performs an action, you can interrupt that activation and select one friendly operative on guard to make one of the following guard attacks. There are 3. Perform an overwatch action, perform a free fight action, perform a point blank overwatch. Okay, few things to consider. Firstly, if you are performing hold on. I'll finish reading. If an operative performs a point-blank overwatch, it performs an overwatch action with the following additional rules. It can perform an overwatch action while within engagement range of an enemy operative, and the enemy operative within its engagement range is the target regardless of any other rules. Until the end of the interrupted enemy operative's activation, each time that friendly operative fights in combat, do not select melee weapons or roll attack dice for it during that combat. Note that it must be an enemy operative's normal activation that is interrupted. It cannot be after an enemy operative performs an action outside of their normal activation, e.g. Overwatch. If an enemy operative has its activation interrupted by a guard attack, would be incapacitated and is subsequently revived during its activation immediately ends. Interesting. Okay, good to know. Good to know. So no weird kind of medic life-saving hacks there. Right, you can Overwatch, free fight, point blank Overwatch. So if you are overwatching as part of your guard action, that makes sense. And you're essentially spending one of your APL to do an Overwatch early, which, hey, yeah, might make sense. That's fine. you can fight. What this means is that the enemy charges you and you get to say, I'm going to fight first. This is huge. This is insane. This changes the game. And then you can also opt to perform a point-blank overwatch. This means, let's say you're a veteran guardsman with a melter gun. You do not want to fight in melee, but hey, now you can shoot your melter gun. Now, it's still an overwatch, so you're still -1 BS, but goddamn. Outrageous. So suddenly you've made certain models unchargeable. Who's going to charge certain models on guard? Any gunner? You can't eat an overcharged plasma. You can't eat a melter, really cool. And chances are you've charged with a melee-capable model. They generally don't have many ways to block out ranged. Hatchway fight. This is just explaining. So this is a really interesting rule that they've added in to ensure that you can still fight regardless of the fact that there's going to be terrain and hatchways in the way. So anyway, it's 1 AP. This action is treated as a fight action. An operative can perform this action if all of the following is true. 1, it is not within engagement range of an enemy operative. 2, its base is touching an open hatchway's access point. 3, an enemy operative is blocking that access point. An enemy operative is blocking that access point if it is on the other side and within circle of that access point, as shown in the diagram opposite. Cool. Fight in combat with the active operative against an enemy operative blocking that access point in the select valid target set for that combat. That enemy operative is a valid target. And then it gives you a little diagram. And it says, the Navis Armsman is not within engagement range of an enemy operative and its base is touching an open hatchway's access point. 2 enemy operatives are blocking that access point. So the Navis Armsman performs a hatchway fight action to fight in combat against one of them. Cool. It's needed. Needs to be done so that you can't just legitimately block the entire doorway or hatchway. Cool. Additional rules, condensed environment. So we all know this now, really, but it's good to keep it in mind. So, weapons with the blast, splash, and or torrent rule get lethal 5 up. If you have, so I'm letting you read it if you really want. I think most people that have made it this far into the video know what this is. I'm just going to summarize it for you, sorry. If you have a weapon with the indirect special rule, you can choose to use the indirect special rule, but it will then only have a range of 3 instead of 6. Or whatever the range may be, it changes to 3. Or you can choose to not use the indirect special rule, in which case it keeps its normal range. And then each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative, if a cover line drawn to that enemy operative crosses one or more operatives with an engage order, excluding operatives with a wounds characteristic of 5 or less, and friendly operatives whose bases are touching the active operatives. In the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, roll 1 less attack dice. So this is the first time we've seen the attacker's dice pool modified. So really interesting. So thematically, I guess it's saying that one of your shots just automatically goes into the guy in front. And that's it, kind of. Which is interesting. Yeah, nice. And then it gives you 2 examples. Barricades. When using the close quarters rules, barricades are set up differently. They can be set up anywhere in the kill zone that is 1, more than 6 inches from your opponent's drop zone. 2, more than 2 inches from access points. 3, more than 2 inches from other barricades. 4, not an A terrain feature, unless it has the insignificant trait. Something to note, in fact, you know what, I'm going to do it right now, so that we understand what I'm saying. Okay, here we go, put the microphone down, cool. More than 6 inches from your opponent's drop zone. Let's just jump to one of the maps, okay? One of the maps where it's relevant, please. Here we go. Okay, you see this deployment layout? You are deploying there. This is a narrative, but that doesn't matter. You have a hatch there, and you have a hatch there. There's a hatch here. You see this? You see this? Okay, you see it? Yes, good. If you forward deploy, you can put a barricade, or you could forward deploy to right next to this hatch, because this hatch is closed. Therefore, this can never be measured through, because there is a wall there. And with a closed door, you're not, you can't measure through it. It's just a wall. So if you're placing a barricade, you can place it right there if you wanted to. Irrelevant for the barricade thing, really, but for any sort of forward deploy that commandos get, that I think, what are the guys? Hunterclade get, others get it too. You can go right there. I'm not saying you're going to want to do that, like there are going to be negatives to you deploying that close to the enemy, because, you can't block a hatchway. They will just open it and kill you, but you can go right there. There you go. Something to keep in mind. And then we have tac ops. When using the close quarters rules, the following tac ops are not in use: seize ground, hold the line, sabotage, vantage. If this would mean you cannot build, that's fine, that's cool, but listen to the rest. If this would mean you cannot build a 6-card tac ops deck, i.e. you do not have any faction tac ops, you can select the number of cards needed to complete your deck from one of the other archetypes your kill team has access to. In match play, if they do not have any other archetypes, you can select the needed cards from any one other archetype. Okay, interesting. So I hadn't realised this, I've got to be honest. I had originally thought, and you're going to hear it in one of my videos come up, that cannot build a 6-card tac ops deck. This is, so you've taken out one of these, seize ground if you've got security, let's say, whatever. If you have access to your 3 faction tac ops, you just put them in anyway, and this means you have to put them in. I thought you could choose to say, oh, I can't take seize ground, so I take that out of the deck, and then I'm going to go over to seek and destroy, or something like that. So, okay, fair enough. Ooh. We now get some funky pictures. Okay, all right, an hour 17, we're not doing too bad. We've gotten through the core. We now get a little setup terrain guide. This is very important. Now, I've done a delightful little hobby video where I make my terrain and I show it to you. Oh, we still haven't... Is that next? Yes, that's next. Is it? No. Where does that come? Did I miss it? Oh, disaster. Hold on. I need to go back and read a word for you because it's very important. It's very important. I must have missed it. I do apologise. Here we go. Sorry, right. Killzone Gallowdark. So I obviously got hung up on the wall. Right above it. Killzone Gallowdark is a killzone played on a 607mm by 704mm area that uses the close quarters rules. It is an indoor killzone with hatches and water, blah blah blah. Okay. Yeah. 607mm by 704mm is outrageously precise. In fact, as far as I'm aware, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Games Workshop has ever used a metric measurement in a rulebook before. They always use Imperial, because, the Imperium, that makes total sense. Very thematic, but... Anyway, for those of you unaware, that comes out to roughly, just off the top of my head, I think it's 23.75 by 28.6 inches, something like that. Yeah, there you go. And presumably the reason they went metric instead of imperial is because they knew the size of the board was significantly different enough from the rounded up inch number that it needed to be said the actual number. So something they suggest here is actually marking all of your terrain, all of your walls with the correct label on the underside of them. I would also 100% recommend doing that. In fact, if you don't, it is going to take you hours to set up your board. You need to do this. So, you know what? I'm not sure if I've actually done... I don't think I've showed that. Even in my hobby video, I don't think I showed that. That was my mistake. So anyway, Killzone Key. It's very quick and simple to do. You just, once you've painted up all your stuff, or already sprayed it black or whatever, just, have your stuff laid out on the board in front, or just on your workstation in front of you. Just have it in front of you, and then match up long wall with pillars, long wall with hatchway, and just with a Sharpie, just on the bottom of the thing, just A1, A2, A3, Very quick. Nice. Hatchway positions. The locations of hatchways on the mission map are specified by the symbols to the right. This will help you identify the orientation of long walls with hatchways. In theory, I think this works, but in practice, it has bamboozled me thoroughly. And I have found that not always do the hatch positions actually... They're not always... Anyway, I'll talk about it when we get to a map. Right. And then you have these overhead pipes. Notice that they have different symbols up top here. Cool, cool, cool. Again, these ones won't be needed for match play. They're narrative only. Spec ops only, if you will. Shadow operations into the dark mission pack. Similar, you have 9 possibilities. Yeah, it's a fun one. Popular naval saying, the Emperor will judge your sins after the officer of the watch is finished with you. I wonder who writes this, right? Who sits down and says, right, we need X number of flavor texts. This one, it's got to be 20 words. Go. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to go through all of these because I can't talk hugely to them. Just understand that the spec ops, the shadow operations, the spec ops, these are termed as asymmetrical missions. That is, either you are attempting to do different things in the mission, or you have different ways of winning, or it is focused more on one team than the other, or your deployments are different, and the way the maps are set up is different, etc., etc. It is not intended to be perfectly balanced. I'm not going to go over all of these because it's just soul-crushing. Because I know I've got 9 of them I have to do coming up soon, so my gosh. Oops. I'm also trying to not hit the microphone. So anyway, I'm going to leave them open for you to see because, again, I do think these are really cool, and I'm going to flip through them because we actually have to talk about the big thing coming up for narrative, which I think is super cool. Wait for it, wait for it. I've got 9 of these to scroll through. Scroll through? Wow, what a zoomer. In what way is this scrolling? Oh, man. Look at this. I mean, I'm sure some of these are, like, really, really fun. No doubt, no doubt. Here we go. Gallowdark Expedition. Oh, my God, okay, there's going to be a lot of reading. Let me just have a sip of wort. Okay. So this is something that I have not fully... I have read it, but I haven't fully taken in just how much it means, primarily because I'm not really a narrative player. So to just read it doesn't really tell much. It sounds super cool. It sounds really awesome. But I don't know how practical it is and how much I would really put it to good use. So I'm not going to read all of this because I can't add much value to it. And odd as it might sound, I genuinely feel that everything I've just read, I have managed to add a little bit of value and critique and comment. I can't to this. All I can say is it looks cool AF, and if you take this, plus what we already have, plus what's in the annual, I think there's actually legitimately something really, really cool here. Now with that said, what is it? Okay, long story short, they are saying that, they recommend that in Gallowdark there is a campaign master. They are going to help the players generate the Space Hulk, and in each segment of the Space Hulk, when you go in, you take a playing card deck, you flip it out. That's how you'll decide, whatever the suit it is, decides what's in there. Just a super cool way of doing it. And then, hey, if it's a Jack, Queen, King, or Ace, that's an additional thing, as opposed to just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. And that's how you can explore the Gallowdark. I really like it. I think it's a really cool idea. And it also adds accommodations, so if someone does a particular thing in regards to the caches you're in, if you do the thing that the cache wants you to do, whether it's like scavenge, so whoever got the most salvage or whatever, then that's cool. And then this is the map. I don't know if, like, I assume this is just a recommended map. I don't know if it actually matters, kind of, like, who does what. I suppose if we were to look at it a little bit, it does say, you know, there's things on here. So this here is the marine boarding torpedo. Now, the Navis, the breaches aren't marines, so that's not us. There's a structural breach, and then there's additional ways out to other parts of the Gallowdark. So pretty cool. But anyway, that's there you go. You can photocopy it, and you can do everything you want to that. Oh, look, it continues. Whoa. This is why I'm not reading this bit, because it would push this video up to like 3 hours. So, twists. I really like this as well. This is the campaign master can come in and say, right, twist. And you can either, you know, just do it based on the 2 people that you know are going into this particular mission. And you can say, okay, right, I know that actually this team is slightly stronger and this team's slightly weaker, and the players likewise, and so actually I'm going to go ahead and say we'll subtract a movement because that's going to hurt the better player more than the worst player, something like that. You know, like just cool things. And then there's loads of stuff. And then we get on to the Critical Operations Mission Pack. So I am now going to, sadly for everybody, read through the mission objectives for all of these missions. And the reason for this is that I think they're quite varied and interesting. And I'm, in a sense, happy to get away from move here, tap a point, or move here, stand on a point. Right? Okay. Mission objective. At the end of each turning point, for each objective marker friendly operative control, you score 1 VP. Okay, fair enough, that's my bad. So this is obviously the first one, and it's just the bog basic. This is, in fact, the same mission that they played in the Warhammer Plus mission. So it's the same terrain layout. Oh, sorry, also, as we're here for the first time really looking at it, we notice that all of the walls have their, now that we know everything we need to know, all of the walls have their numbers next to them, their grid, their code, and also it's all on a grid, so you know that each grid here is 4 inches, or I think it's 4, plus the little indentation on the sides, which is just enough room for another pillar, and that's it. There you go. Oh, and hey, you know what? Hey, maybe you're just really hyped on Killteam. It's your first time here. Heads up, chaps. Sometimes there are going to be TAC ops or TAC ops? Ploys? Yeah, no, TAC ops, yeah. That might say you need to be on the enemy's kill zone edge. Notice that if you have a corner deployment like this, well, you might say, oh, well, I'm not actually sure which the opponent's kill zone edge is. Does it mean right in the corner? Well, actually, no. Because on different maps, it will put the actual kill zone edge. It marks it there with text. So, no weirdness there. Okay. Mission 1.2, Power Surge. Power Surge. At the start of the first turning point, the defender selects one of the specified objective markers shown on the deployment map. Start of Power Surge, start of Power Surge. Those two. You see them? Good. Show on the deployment map to be the start of the Power Surge. Label that objective marker as 1. Each objective marker along the center line thereafter is then numbered in sequential order, resulting in the objective markers being numbered 1 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. During each turning point, the objective marker with the number that corresponds to the current turning point is the Power Surge. Operatives can perform the following mission actions: Siphon Power, 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while within 1 inch of an objective marker it controls that is the Power Surge and has not been siphoned during this turning point. If it does so, that objective marker has been siphoned this turning point. Lovely. Mission objective. Each time a friendly operative performs the Siphon Power mission action, you score 1 VP. At the end of each turning point, if friendly operatives control 1 or more objective markers, you score 1 VP. If friendly operatives control more objective markers than enemy operatives control, you score 1 VP. Now, what does this mean? Let's break it down. Let's have a quick think. Because this is something that I have found turns up in many of these objectives, these missions. It seems that the primary mission is now something that we're going to be scoring less on in general. In some of these, I think, unless I misread it, you can only score 6 from the primary, right? Like, that's crazy. So in here, you're still trying to hold all of the objectives, but actually, each turning point is only worth 2 VP. You're only getting 2 a turn. You're not able to get 3 or 4. Well, sorry, you can get 3 in this one, lol. But basically, if you control 1 or more, you just get 1. But then you have to control more. So it's control 1, control more. They're missing out the control 1, control 2, control more, which is interesting choice to go that way. And then whoever siphon powers first gets a 3rd VP. Okay, supply raid. Secure supplies. The pickup action can be performed upon objective markers. While an operative is carrying an objective marker, it cannot perform dash actions. So there are 4 objective markers, 2 right in the middle, and then 2 that are kind of in your area. Mission objective. The first time a pickup action is performed upon each objective marker, that operative's player scores 1 VP. At the end of the battle, for each objective marker friendly operatives control, you score 1 VP. For each objective marker friendly operatives are carrying, you score 1 VP. So, okay, look at that. So again, the actual number of VP that could be scored from the primary in this mission is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means that the primary is worth just as much as potentially your secondaries, which to me is huge. Suddenly, people are going to have to really, you can't just move to a point and stand on it. You have to really, really think what you're going to do. Now, I will say, you know, it might come down to people looking at this and saying, okay, well, you know what? No. Because this is too defined by who gets to, who wins the initiative. Because then they get to actually do the thing first. And maybe people, you know, the competitive community won't like that. Or maybe they will, who knows? Because maybe I'm wrong and maybe that's not how it's going to be defined on that particular map. Mission rules. This is mission 2.1, Junction Assault. Sector control for the purposes of determining victory. Note here, no objectives on the map. There is, however, a center line marked. Sector control for the purposes of determining victory points for the mission objective. For each friendly operative that would be within 2 different sectors, you must select one of those sectors of that operative to be treated as being within. Note here, so we have player A's drop zone, sector 1, sector 2, sector 3. Player B's drop zone, and then sector and sector, I think. I assume sector 1, sector 2, sector 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yeah. At the end of each turning point after the first, you score VP as follows. So you don't score turn 1. That's very common in 40k, but in Killteam we used to always score turn 1. To a maximum of 4 VPs per player per turning point. For each sector in which no enemy operatives are on your drop zone side of the center line, you score 1 VP. For each sector in which you have friendly operatives within blue, 3 inches, of your opponent's drop zone, you score 1 VP. So this is really interesting. Like, yeah, I don't even know how this is going to play out. So it's giving you the center line so that you know the first part there, because either side of the center line, but then also if you can get closer to just past that bit, the quadrant, I guess, the grid, then you get more. I was like, oh gosh, this is going to really help. It's going to really punish players that want to sit back. You have to move up. You have to know how to engage the enemy. So it's going to be very interesting, very interesting. Full-scale attack, 2.2. Mission objective at the end of each turning point. For each beta objective marker, friendly operative control, you score 1 VP. That's the 2 central ones, to be clear. Those are the betas. Beta. For each alpha objective marker within your opponent's drop zone that friendly operatives control, you score 2 VPs. So that's... basically, there are 2 alpha objectives. There are 4 alpha objectives in total, but 2 on each the player's side. If the enemy controls it, they hold 2 per each. And if you control the middle, the betas, you score 1 per each. Cool. Mission 2.3, Mysterious Signature. Mission rules. Operatives can perform the following mission action. Scan for 1 AP. Oh, this is such an interesting one. I think this is one... I'll read it. Okay. An operative can perform this action while within circle of an objective marker it controls. Roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result for each objective marker that has been removed from the kill zone. On a 1 to 5, remove that objective marker from the kill zone. On a 6, that objective marker is the source. Remove all other objective markers from the kill zone. An operative cannot perform this action if the source objective marker has been determined. Each kill team can only perform this action once per turning point. Secure mysterious item. The pickup action can be performed upon the objective marker that is the source. The first time the pickup action would be performed upon that objective marker, 1 additional action point must be subtracted. Each time thereafter, subtract action points as normal. While an operative is carrying that objective marker, it cannot perform dash actions. Mission objective. Each time a friendly operative performs the scan mission action, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if friendly operatives control the source objective marker, you score 3 VPs. If a friendly operative is carrying the source objective marker, you score 3 VPs. This map is... So the thing is, there are going to be sometimes you play this, and you start here, okay, because that's more central to the screen. You start there, you're player B, you get to go first, you move out, you move here, you scan, you roll a 6, and you win the game. To be clear, you don't win immediately, so, you know, it might take you 2 or 3 operatives to allow you to do this, but you open it, you move, you pick up, you come back. You then stick the rest of your team there, close the door, everyone's on guard. There, like, yeah, it's going to be impossible for some people to, yeah. You're going to get some real feels bads on this. This is not one that's going to end up in tournaments, I guarantee, which is fine. I guess they don't all have to, but it seems like something could have been done here because this is a literal game of if you roll a 6, you win. So, Forge Stronghold. Mission rules. Secure. At the end of each turning point... Sorry, it's water time again. At the end of each turning point, each objective marker friendly operative's control is secured by your kill team. While an objective marker is secured by your kill team, it stays under their control, even if no friendly operatives are within circle of it. If any enemy operatives control that objective marker following the normal rules for controlling objective markers, it is no longer secured by your kill team. So basically this means you stand on it, and if you're standing on it at the end of the turn, it's yours, you can then move off of it. Mission objective at the end of each turning point after the first. For each objective marker friendly operatives control, you score 1 VP. To a maximum of 4 per player. Cool. I think that's an easy one. Mission 3.2, we're almost done. Oh my god, we're almost done. We're going to get in under 2 hours, guys. Not terrible, not terrible. Mission rules. 3.2, Vault Plunder. Or Vault Plunder? Vault? Vault. It's Vault. Vault. Vault over something. Vault over. Mission rules. Operatives can perform the following mission action. Power down 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while within 1 inch of a conduit objective marker it controls. Remove that objective marker from the kill zone. Okay. Oh, right, sorry. So, so there are 4 conduits. There's conduit 1, conduit 1, conduit 2, conduit 2, vault 1, vault 2. Each time a friendly operative performs the power down mission action, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, for each vault objective marker friendly operatives control, that's the 2 central ones, you score 2 VPs for each of its conduit objective markers that have been removed from the kill zone. Note that if none of its conduit objective markers have been removed from the kill zone, you score 0 VP for that vault objective marker. So this is very, very similar to one of the ones that was in the Octarius kill zone, the core book, where you would run up and you'd action on the objective, and then that would remove the objective, and then you had to hold the central objective for that marker to score it. However, in that, you scored it every turn. There was 1 VP if one of the objectives was actioned on, 2 VP if 2 of the objectives were actioned on, and there were 2 of those. In this, you run up, and then it only takes place at the end of the game. So, very interesting how that's going to make the game play out. you could easily end up in a kind of a stalemate where you want to tap your 2 conduits, and if possible, the enemy conduits, but they're not going to let you do that. So you tap your 2 conduits, and then it's actually going to be kind of best for you to just sit at doorways and shoot the enemy from afar and not push up until last turn, where you dash into the Vault 1 and Vault 2. Interesting. Final mission. 3.3, Exposed Trove. Ooh, expose my trove, darling. Operatives can perform the following mission action. Claim loot, 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while within 1 inch of an objective marker. Notice we have alpha, nothings. An operative can perform this action while within 1 inch of an objective marker in controls that has not been looted during this turning point. If it does so, that objective marker has been looted this turning point. Mission objective. Each time a friendly operative performs the claim loot mission action, you score 1 VP, to a maximum of 3 VPs per turning point. At the end of the battle, for each alpha objective marker friendly operatives control, you score 2 VPs. So, for 3 turns, you're trying to just action on points, and then on the final turn, you just want to stand on the middle 2. And that's it. We're done. Imperial Navy, Breaches, narrative data slate. Farstalker Kinband, narrative data slate. And then we get a nice little Killzone key reference. We get some narrative data cards. Very nice, very nice. Boom. Oh man. Whew. Into the dark. Into the dark. How about that? I'm just putting the microphone down. There we go. Okay. What do we got? We can chat for like 5 minutes. All in all, I actually really like a lot of what's happened in Into the Dark. I think Guard is going to be really good for the game. I think a lot is going to be really good for the game. In here, I think that the terrain is really cool. My issue with all of this is, I don't know, maybe it's my own fault. So I'm viewing this very much through the lens of, sorry, let me put my hands on screen so I can gesticulate properly. Here we go. There we go. And let's make it a little bit artsy. There's my microphone as well. There we go. Cool. Nice. So I'm viewing this all through the lens of kind of someone that focuses on match play, and inevitably match play players are going to be looking at tournament games. And if the tournament players aren't playing, tournament players don't play narrative games, right? And if the tournament players look at Into the Dark and say, you know what, that's cool, but I've got a tournament in a month and I have to play the match play rules. And I know that my local tournament isn't going to be running Into the Dark because they can't get the, whatever. They don't have enough kits, or we think the rule set's broken, or whatever. People just won't play this. I'm in a fortunate position where I can probably convince people to play whatever I want when it comes to Killteam, right? But in reality, I've got to think of my channel as well, and I want to lean more into battle reports where I can. I think they're pretty cool, and they feel quite rewarding to put out, even though they take a lot of work and don't generally put in much. You don't get much for what you put in. But I would quite like to do more of that, and so I also want to be able to rope in the competitive players that want to watch a cool battle report, as well as the narrative players or the people that are just casual and just want to see a cool battle report. It would be silly of me to cut out the competitive players. And with that in mind, if the entire competitive scene just turns around and says, yeah, we're not going to play Into the Dark for whatever reason, doesn't matter what the reason is, then I'm looking at my own stuff, I will probably not play Into the Dark as well, because it's like, well, I need to be a competent player, and if we never ever play Into the Dark, what's the point? Like, that's not going to necessarily help me in being a competent player in the eyes of the competitive scene so that they come and they watch my battle reports. Because at the end of the day, playing a game, I don't care if I'm playing Into the Dark or if I'm playing Octarius. It's all the same to me. And yeah, I don't know. There you go. Hype. I'm really excited for Into the Dark, actually. I think a lot of what's in here is good. I think the terrain's cool. I'm really excited for the next year of Into the Dark releases. I'm hoping that by the end of the year, I've got a really cool looking and, well, no, a really cool looking Space Hulk board, which is going to substitute itself very, very nicely for a full-size Space Hulk, right? And because that's literally what we're getting over the next year. Like, we're getting 4 boards, which are all going to be like that, like the Into the Dark board. Presumably thematically different, but we still don't know how. But we're going to be getting 4 boards, and hey, what's a full-size 40k game? 4 boards. Wait, or is it 6 boards? Might be 6. No, it's 4. Yeah, it's 4 boards. And so, like, you know what? That sounds crazy fun. To, within the year, go from, 1 board Into the Dark to 4 boards, full-on Zone Mortalis rules through a really cool-looking, for me, obviously, fully night-timed up, Into the Dark Space Hulk. Like, that sounds awesome. Anyway, there you go. I just think that might be quite fun. Who knows? Maybe even once the next Into the Dark box, what's it called? Shadowbreaker? Shade Vaults. Shadow Vine. I think it was definitely Vault. Shadow Vault. Yeah, Shadow Vault. Maybe once that releases, I might actually do a 40k 1,000 point game, because we will then have the 2 boards, which is what you need for 40k. That'd be really awesome. There you go. So I obviously went on a huge tangent there, just thinking about myself, because that's life. There you go. Yep, I'm really hyped for all of this, but my big fear is how the rest of the community is going to take it. I think it's cool. The rest of the community, who knows? But you know what? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Are you going to look at the guard action and say, nah, I'm not playing that. That breaks the game. Game's broken. I'm out. Are you going to look at no vantage points and say, what's the point? Vantage point? More like no point. Or are you going to look at, I don't know, something else in here and say, well, this thematically ruins the game for me, even as a narrative player. I don't like this, so I'm going to stay with Octarius. Or is there something in here that I haven't realised and actually it's very restrictive in some ways? Are people... I guess my big fear is that the game turns into... And there's no way for me to know this until I have played way more games of Into the Dark. Does the game turn into rush forwards, sit at a door? Last turn, rush to a point? Because if so, might be fun for a bit, and like, this is thematic and everyone gets to roll some dice and, fun. But actually, if we lose a huge amount of the game, which is, let's be honest, movement, that's going to be a bit of a letdown, to be honest. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts. This has been one of my rare man reads books. Maneth readeth booketh. I know that in general, when it comes... So I'm recording this weeks before you guys get to see it. And so everything I've said in here, I have had to kind of say, oh, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you don't know what this is. But I know that more and more recently, Warcom, they come out and they actually tell you a lot of stuff. Like a lot of the rules. So... undoubtedly there have been some parts where you guys have been like, yeah, I know, it was on Warcom, keep going. Like at the time of recording, I think that I haven't seen anything from the Navy breaches or we've seen the Pekra from the Kroot, and that's the only thing we've really been shown by Warcom. I don't think we've been shown anything else. We saw it in the Warhammer Plus Battle Report, where we snooped through it, but we haven't actually seen, like, the rest of it. like officially from Warcom. So anything past the Pekral token, maybe what I've just shown you is, teaching you to suck eggs, because you already know. But, that's how this has to go. Anyway, I'm rambling for no point. Right, I'm immediately going to turn off and restart and go straight into recording the annual Man Reads book. So, hey, if you've just watched to the end of this, I'd like to say go check out me reading the annual. And also, I'm putting out a whole load of videos, potentially more than you can watch in a day, than I can put up in a day. And so you're not going to receive 3 notifications a day about my channel. You'll receive 1. But hey, go and check out my channel, because there will be some there that you have not received notifications for. Okay, thank you very much. Hey, much love, everybody. Stay safe. I'm gonna go and record the annual now. Bye.